This is like weird. This is so formal. I don't like, what do I do with my hands? Can I just do this the whole time?
Yeah. Well, jazz hands it.
Jazz hands. My phone is just going nuts.
You're going to have to take care of that.
Okay.
We're rolling, by the way.
Oh, we
great.
are? All right. Let me just throw this phone down here. So
The
the
only
buzzing
one thing I
doesn't.
want to tell you is some people do this out of nervousness, and it picks up really heavy on the mic.
Oh,
It sounds like you're...
I don't get
bobbing.
nervous.
You don't? Ever?
End of like a 6-game parlay.
Okay.
Those are some real nerves.
Okay, when you're down.
I mean, definitely when you're down, you're trying to like make that up on the end.
So you
But
can go home.
yeah, 4 a.m. in Vegas, getting cut off on espressos, that actually happened to me. Like those are real nerves.
You're so innocent and cute.
They didn't know what else I was doing.
Okay. All right, so should we start? All right, let's do this. Welcome to Stop Whining About Real Estate. Join us as we chat, sip, banter, and wine with the best in the biz. Grab a glass of your favorite vino, sit back, relax, and let's wine together. Good afternoon and welcome to Stop Whining About Real Estate. I am your host and co-host today because Emmanuel could not be here with us, Sarah Biernbaum. And with us, me today, is a very, very special guest, Jared Perlman. He is the COO of Choice Mortgage Group. He's also a good friend of mine. And he is Emmanuel's partner in crime when it comes to all things Choice Mortgage and building our wonderful empire. Welcome, 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 Jared.
Thank you for finally having me. I felt very left out of this podcast for a very long time.
I bet.
Yeah, I had to act like the cool kid that just didn't want to be on there. But now that I'm invited, it's so awesome.
You know, I will say that you're like Oz, right? Is that it? In Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the curtain, the promised land, the one that they're all trying to go see?
I want to say I saw that movie when I was like 4 years old, but
Okay.
sure.
Because you're the man that like makes it all happen. You're the guy behind the scenes that like Emmanuel concocts these ideas and then looks at you and he says, now Jared, go make it happen. And then you somehow magically make it all happen. And then everybody's like, wow, Emmanuel did all that. And I'm like, no, there's a person behind him. His name is Jared, but he doesn't like to come out too often.
I like that role, and I also like taking a lot of credit for Googling things and YouTube videos. But yeah, there's work that actually goes into making things happen. And
You've made your way.
Yeah. I mean, Emmanuel, I don't know how many episodes you guys have done now, but I'm sure anybody watching this can tell Emmanuel's a little crazy, a little off the cuff, and probably has come up with ideas like mid-sentence in this podcast.
He
And so
actually
like, oh,
has.
you know what? That's a great idea. Why don't we do this?
Yep.
So that always puts me in an awkward position when I'm like mid-meeting with him, meeting with somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, keeps me on my toes. I feel like Army Corps of Engineers in here have to just like put things together on the
Special
fly.
ops.
Special ops.
You are the special ops.
I'm going to remove
Add that on
COO
your-
from my office glass and put special ops on there.
Perfect.
It's way better.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back a little bit because I know that you started with Choice Mortgage quite some time ago, and you've been working with Manuel for a while. What brought you to the very exciting world of mortgages?
So I'll try and keep my story short. But the exciting world of mortgages was not on my radar at all.
Okay.
In any way. I was a college student trying to figure out what I wanted to do in the world, and I was going to go into wealth management. So I went to work for a group at Raymond James that was running a very large book, and I thought, oh, how exciting. I get to manage. For them, it was hundreds of millions of dollars, and you have like the Wall Street mentality going on in your head, and I thought that was so cool. And I quickly realized that my day consisted of playing a lot of Candy Crush and talking to, I'm going to make up the name, but it was Lois Stein from New York about the weather because she had 15 million with them, and they needed somebody to talk to her, and that was my 12 to 1 p.m. every day. And boy, did I just want to be eating lunch instead of doing that, and it was really boring.
Okay.
And then I think like the nail in the coffin in that career was they looked at me, my mentors, bosses, and said like, "Oh, how much family money are you bringing in?" And I was like, "What do you mean by family money?" And they're like, "Well, you can't start in this career without like $10 million of family money." I'm like, "Oh, I don't have that." Yeah, and I'm like, even if my parents did, they wouldn't trust me. I'm 22 years old. That would be a crazy ask of them. So 7 weeks into this, I walked into my boss's office and said, "Hey, thank you so much. This is the greatest internship I ever had. I'm going back to school." And he's like, "What are you talking about? We hired you full time." It's like, "No, definitely an internship. I'll see you." So I went back to school. Had already accepted a a MBA position. I don't even know what you say, like my acceptance to MBA back at University of Florida. Did that for 6 months, realized that was not the route I wanted to go. I was interviewing with a lot of companies that were these like big multinationals, and you train in Kansas and then you go to Connecticut and then you go to New York, and I'm like, this doesn't really leave a lot of room for life. So I didn't want to do that. So fast forward, dropped out of grad school. I'm a proud grad school dropout, which my wife likes to remind me of all the time. Started a company, started an app, which everyone was doing back then. This is 2012. Oh, yeah. Did the app. It's right there on my LinkedIn profile. That didn't work out so well. Sold it to a lot of people, raised a lot of money. Didn't realize you need to learn how to program to actually do an app. And then as I was just trying to figure out my life, I had a family member, a cousin who was good friends with Emmanuel, call me up and say, hey, I hear you're trying to figure out what to do. Mortgages are looking hot again. 2008 was a crash. It's now 2012. The market's booming. There's not a lot of people. Come see what I do. And I just came into the office, and this is you were at our old office, not this grand palace we have now with a green room and a recording studio and everything. And I just kind of sat there and took it in. And it was a lot closer to what I expected money management to be. It was fast, it was transactional, there was creativity, there was relationships, but it wasn't a relationship that you had to nurture every day just because somebody may have money with you. It was like there was a meaning to the relationship. The relationship with the referral partners had meaning to it. And so I just loved it. And I just kept showing up. I wasn't licensed. I didn't work there. I just showed up for like a month straight and kind of learned and said, hey, I'm going to go take my test today. And, went and did the class and test and haven't looked back ever since.
That's awesome. Yeah. I knew some of that. I didn't know all of that about you. But I think the part that sticks out to me the most is that you just kind of showed up and just like started doing it. And I
didn't have anything better to do.
Well, I think that's a big problem for a lot of people when they are starting, is because they don't know how to just start doing it.
Yeah.
And they just kind of get stunned in, what do I do? And they take on like all of this training and all of this stuff. And they're like, all right, I have all the tools. I just don't know how to put them to work. And you did the opposite sort of. You didn't really necessarily have all the tools or even the licensing. You just started doing and working, and then the rest of it kind of fell into place.
Yeah. I mean, there's this great, oh man, I'm blanking on the name. There's this great video. I swear you've seen it because Emmanuel sent it to both of us.
The Just Do It one?
The Just Do It one.
Or Do It.
Yeah.
And he repeats over and over and over.
Yeah. He was the founder of, oh man, I'm blanking on all of it. I'll think of the name at some point. But, he just kind of says, like, how did this guy is a multi-hundred millionaire, billionaire. He was receiving some award.
He's like, how did you get there? And he's like,
I just did it. You just wake up and you do it and you do it and you do it.
You want to start working out, just do it. You want to start cold calling, just do it. You want to start,
Yeah, you just figure it out. I mean, cold calling is a perfect example, right? So when I started, I had no business, I had contacts from just like being a local person, but I was also 22 years old. Like what my contacts were, who I'm going to meet to watch a game on Sunday or like go to the bar at 2 a.m. Like I didn't have actual real contacts, so you just have to start calling people.
A kid.
I was a kid.
Yeah.
I'm still a kid at
heart.
Still a kid. But like, you just have to do things. And I remember literally somebody who worked with us at the time was listening to me cold call. And they're like, your call's the same every time. I was like, okay, so, and they said, change it up. I'm like, to what? And like, anything, just try things. And literally I had a little alarm that would go off on my phone because I would cold call in the morning, and then the best time to cold call, at least at the time for consumer direct, which is what I was trying to do. Not a great idea, by the way, is after 6 when people get home.
Okay.
And so I'd cold call from 6 to 8. I'd take a little break, walk across the street to like this coffee shop, Sequella, get a little cookie, come back. And then I would start with a Southern accent.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. I would really change it up and see if that would work and go with like the weirdest lines, like, how y'all doing? You in the market for a new mortgage right now?
You should try that again.
Over a decade doing this, I don't have to use the Southern accent anymore. Right. Maybe sometimes I do. Who knows? But yeah, you just do until you find something else to do. And cold calling led me to realize I don't like cold calling, so it led to networking groups, and networking groups led to professional groups, and professional groups literally led me back to the bar, which is where I just made friends. And I was like, let me make professional friends there. And some of my closest working relationships are still people I honestly just met having a drink, watching a football game.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you start doing that. You start cold calling. You start just going and doing it. Mm-hmm. And Emmanuel was at Choice at the time. Mm-hmm. And the story goes that he did not acknowledge you or your presence for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
because you were young and he thought you weren't going to last?
Who's telling this story?
I'm asking.
All right. I mean, but where is the background from, like something I've told you before or something Emmanuel said?
It's a mixture of both.
Because we have some very different stories, and I'll tell you the truth.
What's the truth?
All right. So the truth is I met Emmanuel before I came to Choice Mortgage Group.
Okay.
At a tailgate.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. And I'm trying to think of the appropriate way to say this, but, I said I came to Choice with a cousin of mine who was working with Emmanuel at the time, and I ran into him at a tailgate, and I was with his wife, and we were in this, I think it was like a JP Morgan tailgate. It was a really nice tailgate, and they had a bar, and we were doing some shots at 9 a.m., 22 years old at a UF game. It was fun. And, it was just me and her, and she'd order 3 shots, and I'd see her just pass one back behind her. And I was like, who are you passing this shot to? And there was a guy who had already had a few, and that was how I met Emmanuel. He was the guy that was getting shots passed to him. So I had an existing relationship with Emmanuel that he didn't have with me, because obviously he didn't remember our fun tailgate. But when I got to Choice, he was very nice. He did acknowledge me for about 10 seconds, and then it was like, I'm getting to work. And Emmanuel's attitude has always been that he's going to be the hardest worker, and he's going to do it the best, and he's the best at being a loan officer. And a lot of it's true. He's a fantastic loan officer, and he works nonstop. I'll tell you a bunch of bad things about him, but not his work ethic.
Right.
But I did realize, I'm like, okay, this guy is not going to baby me, and he's not going to hand feed me anything, and he's not even going to stop to tell me what he's doing, because he's just doing, and we don't really know each other all that well. So after literally sitting him down and asking him, can I just watch you? He's like, yeah, you can sit right next to me, hip to hip. And I literally did that for 3 months. Anytime he picked up the phone, I would we didn't really have walls in this office. There's kind of dividers. So I literally run behind his divider and just sit there, and I would beg him to put it on speakerphone and take notes and just learn to sell. I firmly believe you can learn all of it. Learn why he was saying certain things, why you were using certain verbiage. And it was interesting, after 3 months of this, I would hear my own sales calls really develop, and then I would sound just like him. And I'm like, okay, that was my baseline. I needed to develop my own voice. But he was wasn't unfriendly, but he wasn't. He doesn't baby
warm
anybody.
Fuzzy?
No, he's not warm and fuzzy.
No, he's not. Not until you get to really know him. Okay, so we're going to go through the journey still. So you guys start working, and you start to really show that you can do this. You have your license, you've got some referral partners, you're bringing in business, you're hitting the phones, and you are climbing as far as your revenue, the loans that you're bringing in, the money that you're generating, and it's noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the way that I've heard the story go is that Emmanuel definitely took notice, and I think he realized that you also had really great work ethic. You were really smart. You were a self-starter, and you were somebody that, combined with the two of you, could really do some cool things together. And maybe the idea of Choice Mortgage Group wasn't there at that moment, but I think the idea of brainstorming to create something really cool together, especially because you guys play off each other really well. I've been able to watch it for 4 years. You guys have really different strengths. Mm-hmm. And the way that you work together is pretty magical. There is a magic to the two of you. And that's a big reason why I'm here every single day, is because of that. So I think, from an early on spot, you guys realized that, and then just kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Running a business is its own thing. Yeah. In this experiment that's now going on 3 years, that is Choice Mortgage Group, that is going pretty well.
Yeah.
You learn a lot. There's a tremendous amount of skills that you have to pull in from just all different facets of life. And, I've talked to other entrepreneurs a lot. I also just find it fascinating. I come from a family of entrepreneurs too. And you realize it's a lot of same verbs, different nouns. All the businesses are the same. And there's very little that I think that can prepare you, but the one real constant, or many real constants, but a big constant in businesses is problem solving and developing processes and procedures so that you don't have to go back. And I know you're smiling here because I'm all about like, how do we never do this again? How do we develop rules? And like even earlier today, I sent out like a rule to a problem we don't really have because I don't want it to become a problem.
Yep.
And what's super interesting is being a loan officer. Like that's what makes a good loan officer, is that same skill set. So no two loan officers are created equally. I guarantee any loan officer will tell you that. There are your great marketers out there that are just going to go and bring business in droves, and that's awesome. But I don't. That's not to me a loan officer, a loan originator. That's a marketer with their LO license, and that's a tremendous skill to have. And honestly, it's not one that I even think that I've ever specialized in. Like I'm pretty good at sales, but I'm not the go mass market and bring in tons and tons of business over and over again. But the person who's actually figuring out the loan, who's figuring out that you have a problem here with credit, so you need to, maybe switch from a agency product to a government product, or the government product has this specific guideline, so maybe you need to look at a non-QM product, or your underwriter says this, so you have to do that, and you have to zig and you have to zag, and that is diagnosing a loan. Mm-hmm. And it's really the same thing in business, right? Like if you open an hour earlier, what does that do, right? If you use a smaller down payment, what does that do to the loan? Open an hour earlier, well, now you have payroll considerations, you have insurance considerations. Is the building open? Do we need to get people office keys? Like, do we need to close an hour earlier? Are there, workplace considerations from just from an employer standpoint, and all those little things? And I mean, I'm really like making it super basic because, I'd like to be open 24 hours a day.
Oh, you and him.
Yeah, right. That's why we work so well together. But it's the same thought processes. And so, when I got my business going as an LO, and he already had his business going, he's been doing this longer than me, and we had these loan problems to work through. I mean, this is, years ago, which is, hey, I can't figure out this borrower. Like I would start going to him with it. And then eventually he started coming to me with it. And then we were like, oh man.
That's kind of cool.
That was super cool for me. But we realized that we had different ways of approaching the same problem. And, that did kind of snowball. And then as we grew a team, really as Emmanuel grew a team, and then looped me into that and looped me into the management of the team. And he started doing things that I wasn't doing yet, which was really traveling and getting, parts of groups and meeting other people and seeing, the first thing was seeing other technologies out there. He'd come back from I don't even remember what group he was a part of at the time, and go, we have to use Django. And I'm like, I fight him tooth and nail on everything because it's like we have to use it because it was the coolest thing I saw.
You're like, this is not another thing that we need.
Right. And so like we got Django, which is our CRM, which is built on the Salesforce platform. And anybody who's ever dove into Salesforce can tell you it's awesome. And it is crazy robust, and you need to learn a tremendous amount to be able to manage it. And so he's like, he just bought it. And it's a really expensive program. It's like, now we have it, guys. And so my mind goes, all right, if we have it and we pay for it, because at the time all the loan officers were paying for it. We didn't have it built into pricing or anything like that, or margins. So I was paying for it. I'm like, well, I'm going to learn how to use it. So now I have to spend hours and hours and hours learning to actually like build it. And, at the end of the day, when you look back, it's, oh, that was kind of our first collaboration. Emmanuel had the idea, said, we need this system. I said, all right, like, let's implement this system properly. And to this day, we use Django. And like, man, have we put a lot of hours into it.
Yeah, you're the Django king.
Yeah.
If we have a problem with Django, you go to Jared.
How do we get that out of the...
We're getting there. We're getting there. I think people are learning.
No, they're good. And I mean, listen, just like anything else, you make rules and procedures for it, and you make videos and, SOPs and...
Listen to you.
Yeah.
All the things.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you guys opened Choice Mortgage Group a couple years ago. The market's not great, but we've gotten, I think, in a better spot. We've got a good flow. We've got people that are in different states. And I know from me, when I came in, you guys were still loan officers. You weren't company owners. You weren't CEO and COO. You worked together. You managed a team. I helped kind of build a little bit of the team by hiring some people. Watching the two of you go from loan officers kind of overseeing a team to owners of a company, creating a company, running a company while still being loan officers has been pretty amazing. And in the short amount of time that I've watched this all kind of unfold in a market that I would say was not the most friendly to mortgages in our industry, I think that you guys have done a pretty amazing job. I think sometimes people forget that it's just the two of you that are kind of creating all of this stuff. The green room, the loan officers, the teams, the branches, the out of town people, the meetings that you guys go to, the coaching things that you guys go to, the mortgage collaborative trips that you guys go on, and you come back with these ideas, and Emmanuel fills that blackboard full of things that usually you and I take on a bulk of them to go execute these new ideas and stuff. But like, that's really cool. And I don't know if you ever stop to think like, this is cool. Do you?
Definitely.
You do?
Yeah, but I mean, first off, it's not the two of us. You're a massive part of it.
Well, thank you.
As our
exec team.
Our exec team is incredible.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've learned through our process of recruiting is obviously that Emmanuel and I are not as impressive as we thought, and our exec team is more impressive because everyone we bring in seems to go like. I don't know if you guys have talked about this on another episode. Oh, I think you had Emmanuel's dad on.
We did, yeah.
So I doubt he said it at the time, but he literally said, I think it was right after the podcast. He walked into my office.
Yeah, no, it was the second trip back.
He walked into my office, so maybe it wasn't directly after. And he said, he's like, you and Emmanuel said a lot of things, but like, you guys are sales guys, so I didn't really trust what you were saying. But man, after meeting Marla and Erica and Matt and Sarah and Jill, it's like, I'm in, I'm all in. I'm like, part of me was like, hey, Kirk, I've known you a few years, but like, you're Emmanuel's father. That's really weird. But yeah, we are sales guys at heart.
Right.
So we have an incredible team.
We do, yeah.
And the more that at least I rely on the team, the more that seems to get done. Right before this, my last call was with our underwriting manager. And I, out of sheer frustration on not getting something because she kept bugging me, said, you know what, Marla, you do it. She said, okay. And literally just came back with this massive project that's almost done. And I was like, hey, you do all of these from now on. You do this so much better than I would have done it. She's like, I'm happy to. And she was like, I'm so proud of you, Jared, for like letting go of the reins, which huge weight off my back because it's a thing I don't like doing.
Yeah.
But also she's just better at it than me. Like we have incredible, incredible people.
Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely don't do it alone. But yeah, it's cool to see. I also I think he and I share a very similar mentality in that you have to keep going and the game's not done. And, we have to get to the next level. And I think if you just stop to take your foot off the gas and appreciate it too much, you get stagnant. And this industry, especially right now, you cannot get stagnant. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep getting to that next level, whatever that is. But yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. I mean, it's yeah.
So in all of this, you also became a husband and a dad.
Not to Emmanuel.
No.
Maybe a dad.
Sort of. No, but you also became a husband and a dad.
Yeah.
Which is also super cool.
Yeah.
Because you, in the last 4.5 years that I've known you, you went from a loan officer and sort of like a manager to a husband to a COO and company owner and a dad.
I think dad technically came first.
Okay.
He was born March of 22.
Okay, yeah, fair.
And so we funded our first loan in June of 22, although this was in the works. But yeah, it was a lot. 22 was a crazy year.
And you're not even 35.
Not yet.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's
Think
cool.
about that.
It's cool.
That is really cool.
It's like I said, I mean, it's a lot. I mean, sometimes it's a little overwhelming if I think about my own life. No, but you know what? Just like anything else, if you surround yourself with great people.
Yeah.
I have a great wife. I have an absolutely crazy ass son, but I love him to death.
It's the age.
It's the age. And, it's 2.5 and he's sick right now. I know. I was telling you earlier, Liz was sending me all these pictures of him just cuddling. And I'm like, oh, he's really sick.
You're like, well, I got to get home so I can cuddle.
No, I don't want to get whatever he has. I'll stay here and do this. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot and it's very cool. And I mean, you try and, envision what you want in the future. And I don't think life ever turns out that way. Right. I think you just kind of life is all about momentum. And when opportunity hits you, you go with it. And, met my wife really randomly, wasn't going out on a date that night, was going out with my best friend's younger brother-in-law, because I was the last single guy in my group, and I just desperately needed somebody to go grab a drink with. Aww. And he said his boss is coming, and his boss is now my wife.
That's impressive.
Yeah, right, crazy. And then, she pressured me into getting married. Kidding, we wanted to. And then, she said we're having a kid. We did. And, then all at the same time of business. So it's
you
just.
You guys want more kids?
No.
No?
No. I mean, that was really fast. I don't like kids.
You like your kid.
I love my kid.
You like my kids, okay.
I like your kids.
Yeah, from a distance.
I like certain kids.
Oh, yeah, I'm on the same page.
I don't like there are some either. People who just like love kids.
Yeah, they're put in this earth for kids. I am not one of them.
Nope.
Yeah, nope. No, I can see. I'm a woman, so like I think I'm supposed to more than you. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, like his little buddies now, which is so cool about this age that he has little buddies. I like them. They're cool. And
because he likes them.
Because he likes them. And we're becoming friends with their parents, and their parents are cool.
Yeah. That helps. When you like the parents, it's easier to like the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently all the wives like compare notes on like who the husbands are asking about. And so I guess, I think I'm the most popular husband.
Wow.
I know. No, yeah, right. I'm kidding. No, but what's interesting is I don't know, maybe it's like where like physically the location of the school he goes to, but like a lot of his little friends' parents are entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And so that's kind of cool. Like all these school events, we get to chat about business and about the economy and about different things. And I see some similarities and I see some differences, and I learn from them too. I mean, you got to learn everywhere in life, right?
Absolutely. So it's the end of 2024.
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Every time I say that to Emmanuel, he's like, it's not over. Keep pushing.
Got to hit our numbers.
And we're finally past the election, thank God, because I'm just happy that all of that noise is over, regardless of where you stand politically. So 2025, I know that we've been like not in the greatest space in our industry. So there was like the whole NAR settlement that happened this year. Rates have kind of been all over the place. People, they kind of hold out because election time makes people a little bit scared, and, they get angsty. And now we've got the holidays. So like 2025, what do you think we will see as far as business, our industry, stuff to look forward to?
Yeah. So, I mean, my standard canned response to that question.
I don't have a crystal ball.
I don't have a crystal ball. And if I knew, I'd be a very rich man. I actually think it's going to be a good year. Yeah. I mean, listen, historically, there are down cycles in real estate. There's down cycles in lending. At this point, we are literally, hopefully at the end of the longest down cycle we have had in 80 years.
Phew.
Right? So it's been interesting. It's been tough. Somebody I was talking to earlier, potential business partner of ours, was saying, there's something to be said about surviving this. And, my thought is I want to thrive during this, not survive. And I think we took that opportunity. But just historically, historically speaking, this should be done. And so any day is kind of, it kind of makes sense to end. And I do think 25 is kind of that point of demarcation. You did get over the election. Again, it doesn't matter what side you're on politically. A lot of people were waiting for that. Mm-hmm. The Fed is cutting rates. Europe is cutting rates. Now, there are a lot of other factors that go into mortgage rates. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, this is a consumer sentiment business. When consumers want to buy homes, they need mortgages. It doesn't matter if rates are at 2%. It doesn't matter if rates are at 18%. You go back to the 80s, they were at 18%. People need to borrow money. Right. We are a country that lives on debt. That's how the modern economy works. So mortgage rates are actually the least important thing in this business. Everything else is more important. Yeah. So I do think consumer sentiment is going to greatly increase in 25. And then you had a lot of great factors for companies that are doing great like ours in 23 and 24, which is that other companies didn't do great and people left the industry. And we went from a massively overstaffed business. We had probably 3 to 4 times as many loan officers as we needed, 3 to 4 times as many lending institutions as we needed, to what we have now, which is a much healthier industry because really only the strong survive.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
Yeah.
We're going to be on the other side and we're going to be like, we were warriors, champions.
I do think we're already seeing indications that we are on the other side. Rates are all over the place, but as rates drop down, that increases refinance activity, which is just a little benefit to our business. The cherry on top of the sundae. Mm-hmm. We're a purchase-focused organization, and always want to do that first, but refinances are great too.
Yeah.
And Home buyers are coming back to the market. I can't tell you how many people I spoke to that just said, I'm waiting for the election.
Yep. I get that a lot.
They don't even know why they were waiting for the election.
No, I think they're just used to saying that. It's just like people say, like, I'm waiting for the holidays to be over. For what? I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're naturally procrastinators. Like,
right.
People, Americans, are naturally like the most, like, we procrastinate.
Debt-consuming procrastinators.
We are debt-consuming procrastinators. That is who we are. And so it was just this thing. And even the people that say, okay, like the election's over, maybe I need to wait longer. The new year, historically in lending, is that thing. Like you see a massive pickup of activity in Januaries from Decembers. I mean, it's noticeable. I track everything, as you know.
Yes, you do.
And like you can just see like starts, just people into the system, not even starting an application, but just like we've made a new connection.
Yeah.
I think December 23 to January 24 was like up 300%. So like Januaries are just big months.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Me too.
I thought, okay, January, maybe February, we're going to be grooving.
January is where you start to see the connections. February is where you start to see the mortgage activity, and March is where you close loans. Yeah, it's a 3-month sales cycle.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I can look forward to that.
Yeah.
All right. So as far as Choice Mortgage Group, where do you see us moving?
Where do I see us moving?
Like,
I mean, I like the mountains.
No, we're not going to the mountains.
Oh,
We
we're
like it
not?
here. Reed likes the beach.
I think we've
Liz
taken her
doesn't
to the
like the
beach
cold.
once. She loves the cold.
Does she?
Oh yeah, me too.
Really?
Yeah, mountains. Where do I see
All
it?
year round?
I don't know. I've never done it before.
You're a South Florida boy.
Too long.
That's why.
Born and raised.
Okay, yeah.
I never go to the beach. Where do I see us going?
Yeah. Like, where would you like to see us in 5 years?
You know, this is a crazy business. There's a lot of facets to it. I love the stuff in the shadows that people don't see. You know, when you're a consumer, you only see so much. When you're a referral partner, like a real estate agent, you only see so much. And even a loan officer or someone in operations, like a processor or a closer, they only see so much. They only see this very beginning piece. There's a lot of layers to this business. And so I definitely want to get further into those layers.
Yeah, you do.
You know, I'd like to, like, we don't service loans currently. I'd love to be a loan servicer. It's a very cool business for a lot of reasons. And I think there's a lot of opportunity there just to have great consumer sentiment. Like anybody who ever calls their mortgage servicer, myself included, by the way, has a terrible time. Mortgage servicers are not great historically, which is crazy to me because so much of it is automated. So all you have to do is have like 5 good customer service people.
Yeah.
And you can be, you know,
Rock stars.
yeah, but they don't do that because they'd rather have one not so good customer service person and save a little bit of money. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to be great for the clients there.
Yeah.
And that also just improves our product offering, our breadth, our, you know, what we can do. So I'd love to see that. And then I'd love to be more national. You know, we're licensed in 16, going on 17 states right now, 17 and 18 we're working on. We have some awesome partnerships that we're working on in other states that, you know, are gonna expand our geographic reach. But to me, you know, we offer something really awesome and special here. We also offer it in the most competitive mortgage environment in the country, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Boca Raton, Florida. We have some awesome loan officers. We have a lot of money from the big companies being pumped in here to compete with us. We have a low rate environment. We have a lot of products. And so we've always had this theory, Emmanuel and I, and we're putting it to the test and it's working, that if all the things that we've had to do to capture business here in South Florida, if we took that and we transplanted that into a lot of other markets, there are other competitive markets in New York City, LA, San Francisco. But if you took that and you transported this to, you know, outside of Atlanta, or you transported this to Knoxville, Tennessee, or some other market that's a decent enough market but doesn't have this kind of competition, how would that translate? And we've started doing that in bits and pieces, and it's translating really, really well. Because we have to do a lot more here for our clients, for our referral partners. Yeah. And now it's just natural there, and people are blown away. So to me, it's really exciting thinking about going national, you know, even more so than we are, and just being in all 50 states and being a lot bigger, because I think that's cool. I mean, everybody would think it'd be really, really cool. I think everybody would think it'd be really, really cool to own or lead a national brand, but I think it'd be really cool to help lead a national brand that people love. Because,
absolutely.
I mean, that to me is just like, you know, you get to actually have a conversation. People go, that's incredible. Choice Mortgage Group. I've heard great things about you.
Right. we can get a choice plane. We'll drop you off in the mountains. We'll take me to all of the other places that we're at.
A choice plane means higher rates for consumers. So we're going to continue to fly economy, but I like where your head's at.
I'll build out business development in all those spots, get those up and running, and then you can sit in a mountain somewhere and do all the behind the scenes stuff.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Right?
I like that.
When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Dentist.
Really?
My dad's a dentist.
Dentist.
Yeah.
Like even when you were a teenager, you still wanted to be a dentist?
No, I wanted to be a hedge fund manager, basketball player. I'm Jewish and I have bad knees. There was no basketball in my future.
You only got bad knees in your 20s.
Yeah, it's true. No, I wanted to do something money management. I thought when I was a kid, there was an article that came out about like hedge funds and Time or one of those, and I read it and I was like, this is the coolest thing in the world. It's this whole world of finance that's really behind the closed curtain or behind the curtain, Wizard of Oz. And I loved that.
Full circle.
And what's funny is I actually interviewed with a hedge fund while in my 6 months getting my MBA. And I remember talking to a guy, and I'll never forget it. And he did it really as a favor to my professor. I had one professor at the time that really liked me, which is weird because I was a good student, but I was not like super into class. I don't know. Maybe I like bumped into him at lunch and had a conversation. I don't remember why he liked me.
You're very likable.
Thank you. But I told him what I wanted to do, and he said, I have a relationship with, it's a crazy name, but it's Philip Frost, who's this billionaire many times over down in Miami. I have a relationship with his hedge fund. I know some people there. I can put you in touch. Do you want to interview? I said, yeah. And I was talking to the guy. He was a lower tiered guy, but making a lot of money because that's what people there do. And the whole first call was about how hard I was going to have to work my first year. And it immediately turned me off to the profession, which is so crazy because looking back, I'm like, that would have been nothing compared to how hard I've had to work to do this. But, I was 21 years old at the
totally
time.
Different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I think by the time you got to this space of, opening this company and doing all of this, you were so well versed in what you were doing that this just felt like the next natural thing. Whereas that might have been like, I'm taking on all this new stuff. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm working 5 million times harder than I ever expected to. And I think that would have been probably more daunting.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, a lot of it is just wrapping
also, you were 21.
Yeah, and it's wrapping your head around what you need to do and understanding life and, being a full person.
Not 21.
Yeah, 21. Yeah. I was definitely not a full person.
Well, I can tell you by the age of not even 35 yet, you've done more than most.
Huh.
I'm significantly older than you, and I'm still trying to be like Jared when I grow up. So there's that.
Nah, I got you fooled. I put on a good show. I walk out of here and
the beard.
Yeah, right? That's why I had to grow the beard originally.
Yeah, and you can't shave it, right?
I can't. Wife's never seen me without it.
Ever?
Ever. I had it really short on our first date. Well, let me rephrase that. When we met, because I met her randomly one night. She was my friend's boss. And I guess at the end of the night, I got her number, and then a few days later, I asked her out. She said, sure. And I think I met her on a Friday, and we went out on a Monday or a Tuesday.
Okay.
And I went and before we went out, cleaned up, and I used a trimmer, and I trimmed my beard down to like a 2 on here, which is pretty close crop, a lot shorter than I have it now. And I picked her up. She walked in my car, and she looked at me, and she said, what the fuck did you do to your face? I was like, shaved. Should never do that again.
And you're like, got it.
Yep. Cool.
Never again.
We're good.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how many years ago was that?
That was the end of 2018.
Okay.
So it was the beginning of 2018. Sorry. So almost 7 years now.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That is wild when you think about it that way, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. 7 years. You're really a baby then.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Okay. What else? What else do we got? I don't know.
You want me to interview you?
No.
No? Hobbies? I have work.
Yeah. What do you do for fun?
I work. I think about work. I dream about work.
You guys are big foodies.
We are.
You like really good restaurants.
Yeah. Oh, I found an amazing restaurant recently, but I can't tell you about it.
Why?
No.
You have this thing.
What?
If you say a restaurant is amazing.
Is incredible.
It is absolutely, positively the most incredible thing ever because, one, you can be specific about your food.
Didn't Didn't you say the other day that if you had to bring one person to complain about food, it would be me?
Yes.
Like at a restaurant? Okay.
So specific is a better word than picky, right? So you're very specific about the quality.
I eat everything. Let's make sure.
Right, but you will be very vocal about something if you're not loving it or if it's not up to par. And your
Like what I pay
standard,
for.
yes,
Yeah.
of course. So if you say a restaurant is great,
It was incredible.
that is, the food is out of this world, the service is out of this world, and the whole evening experience
All of it.
is amazing.
All of it. It was kind of a hole in the wall sushi place
In Fort Lauderdale?
in Pompano
Okay.
called Kaizen.
Ooh.
I'd heard about this for years.
Okay.
Finally decided to go.
Okay.
Real casual.
Okay.
It's way overdressed. Can't wait to go back in shorts and a t-shirt.
Okay.
And sat down, heard it was great. The owner walked up and I introduced myself. I was like, "Are you the owner?" Starts chatting. And I was like, "Hey, I've read about you guys on a Facebook food group, Let's Eat South Florida." And I'm like, "Can you just put whatever on our table? Because I hear you're the man." And after chatting for like 5 minutes about why he moved from Boston, he's like, "Yeah, I got you. No problem." And he just like sent some rolls and some crazy things. And it was awesome. I can't wait to go back.
Okay. If you say it's good, I'm
Kaizen.
there. Kaizen.
Kaizen.
Okay. What's your like go-to favorite? Like it's your birthday and Liz is like, where's one spot you got to, not Kaizen, but like a repeat, always.
Joe's Stone Crabs.
Oh, that's right. I knew that.
Oh, yeah. I'm born and raised down here.
Yeah.
And my dad was born and raised down here. My grandfather was born and raised down here. So my grandfather was going when it was like, whenever they opened, 1907 or whatever that was.
I always tell Emmanuel, if you make him really, really mad, just get him some stone crabs from Joe's.
I haven't been in like 2 seasons.
Are you going to go this season?
Just opened. I should. Miami.
You got to get over it.
It's not about getting over it. It's traffic.
I know.
I have better things to do.
You sound like you're 100.
I feel like I'm 100. My knee is locked in this position right now. I can't move.
You and Liz used to go to Costa Rica a lot. Do you guys go anymore?
Well, we're supposed to get married there.
Yes, I remember.
That would have been fun.
Yeah. But instead you had it at the Breakers. It wasn't bad.
It was a lot more expensive and a lot less people. So that part was disappointing.
It was really pretty.
It was an awesome wedding.
I was the hired entertainment.
You were very entertaining there. We haven't been back since the wedding planning trip because we very quickly got pregnant after we got married. Mm-hmm. If you time it all out, it was after we got married. And then, we've had the little monster.
The little Riedel.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping to go back soon. He needs to be a little bit calmer. I mean, he's
a wrecking ball.
Yeah,
He's
I mean
2.5.
Yeah,
I will tell you,
he's crazy.
four for both my kids was way worse than 2. 2 seems pretty chill.
Why would you tell me that?
I'm just preparing you.
What the?
Yeah.
It gets worse?
Yeah, they have a bigger vocabulary.
He can say a lot.
Yeah.
Like the other morning when he said,
more forceful.
When he said, "Daddy, look," after I turned around for 2 seconds, he dragged a stool all the way around the counter next to where the knives were, climbed up, pulled the knife out by the blade. And so now there's nothing in our knife block anymore. That's all locked away in a drawer.
Smart.
Yeah.
There's actually a meme on Instagram that I saw the other day, and it was a joke that they were playing, and it was a baby like in one of those walkers, and they gave the baby a fake knife, and so she's rolling around the house, and she'd go into another room, and there'd be like the grandfather there, and he'd see her like waving the knife, and he'd like freak out and grab the knife from her, and they had it on video, and then she'd go in another room, and it was funny because I just thought you would freak out if you saw the baby like that, but then,
A baby with a knife?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of Reed's grandparents would probably just stop and take pictures. We've had some moments.
They probably thought it was fake.
I mean, there's pictures that they'll send us like, "Oh, look how cute he is." And he's just in like the most dangerous situation.
You're like, can you get him?
I'm like, "You stopped to take a picture?" Like, "Yeah." I'm like, "But what if he fell?" "Oh, we didn't think about how did I start?" I must have had 12 brothers and sisters to start with, and I'm an only child now.
They all just. I love that. No. All right. I don't know. I don't have anything else.
No? All right. I'll interview you.
I think I've interviewed you to death.
You've interviewed? Well.
We've missed Emmanuel today.
Nah, that's okay. We talked to him enough.
We do, actually.
So, but nobody ever interviews you during this?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm usually like the Robin.
Well, I don't know what that means.
So you know how
like Batman and Robin?
No. What's his name? Curly hair. he was like the original podcast person. He has the radio show. Howard Stern.
Mm-hmm.
The Robin. I'm the Robin. The chick.
Oh.
Yeah. It's
Huh?
not really my show. It's Emmanuel's show.
So what you're telling me
Yeah.
is when I finally break through to make it on this show, I get the Robin?
I think what he wanted to do today is like, one, I think he said that he was giving me my wings to fly, and this is what coaches do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So where do you envision this podcast going?
Oh, boy. You know what? I don't really know. So when he asked me to do this, I had never heard a podcast. I didn't really listen to podcasts.
You never heard a podcast?
I knew what they were. I just didn't listen to them.
Okay.
I don't really enjoy listening to people talk when I'm driving because I feel like what I do for a living is talk to people all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm not going to be on the phone, I like to listen to music. So he asked me to do this podcast. He thought it'd be really fun. And then every show that we've done, he's like, you need to add more. You need to be, more interesting. You need to be more funny. You need to talk more.
Stop being you, start being somebody else.
Start being more like him.
Oh, boy.
And I don't know. So I'm just, being supportive, and I'm here for the ride and seeing where it goes, I guess.
Do we have like a listener count at this point?
Yeah, we have an audience
Cool.
of some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they start.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember listening to the Joe Rogan podcast at the beginning. Some buddy of mine told me about it, and he was already kind of popular, but he was getting like 20,000 listeners at the time. Now I think he's got like 5 million every podcast.
Yeah, it's insane. But I think the magic of his podcast is that he has so many different people, and they talk about so many different things. We're kind of in the world of real estate. It's stop whining about real estate. So like we've had insurance people, we've had painting people, we've had, title people, we've had, of course, agents, we've had brokers, we've had other loan officers on the show. But it really kind of revolves around real estate and what we do. And a lot of times it'll be like Emmanuel, who is the expert in the lending world, and a title agent who is the expert in their title world. And, they talk shop about the market and what's going on in the industry. And I'll add my, Sarah-isms in there, but...
It's time to rebrand. It's just stop whining about everything.
Whining.
Yeah, just stop whining.
Yeah, stop whining. Yeah, maybe. Maybe
You
that's...
should get like a sommelier in here.
should.
Actually drink some like fine wine.
Or like a waiter. It's all dressed up and like serving us. Yeah. That could be cool. I don't know. Maybe a little rebrand or a refresh.
You don't need to. I mean, you just need to expand it a little bit more. Plus, everyone likes real estate.
Yeah. Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't noticed that you're like, I noticed this a long time ago, that in this profession, it's one of those professions that when people find out what you do or who you work for or like who you work with, they always have questions.
Oh yeah, tons.
Everybody.
They'll be like, so when do you? And I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you have to have your canned answers. Like, if I had a crystal ball.
I have a bunch of canned answers. You know where I learned a lot of my canned answers from was you.
Oh, really?
I used to, because when I first got into this, I knew nothing about mortgages. I literally knew nothing about mortgages. I didn't even have a mortgage at the time. And Emmanuel was like, we need you to hire people. And I was like, okay, well, how do I talk to a processor if I don't know how to process a mortgage? So I had to learn a ton. And then when I turned into a, business development person, going out talking to agents to try to say, hey, I'd love a chance to work with you, and we'd love to work with your buyers and, be a preferred lender of yours. They want to know what I know about being a lender. And so I would get these questions. And at first I didn't really know. So I'd kind of, make up the answer enough to where it got me through the conversation. And then I would beeline it back to you. And I'm like, Jared, so this person asked me about this and this and this and this, and how do I answer that? And then you would tell me, I would take notes, and then I would make sure that I regurgitate that I answer exactly the way that you told me to the next time that person
I
asked.
should have said something absolutely ridiculous that would have gotten you in trouble.
No, I'm so glad that you didn't. So that's how I learned. And then I would answer, and then they would expand upon the answer that I gave. And I wasn't quite prepared for that. So then I'd come back to you and get more. And then it was just slowly piecing those things together. And then I think by genius, you guys have always had me sit in on loan officer meetings and different things that you guys have done for them. I'm not a loan officer, But I think by just osmosis and like being here in the office and listening and sitting in on, a demonstration or whatever, and having to understand certain products and at least enough to be able to talk about them, I've learned a ton in the last 4 years to be able to kind of hold my own and, answer questions that I need to answer. And then if it becomes too much, I'm able to defer them. But I do it comfortably now instead of being like, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but have you realized, like, so now my question for you is, have you realized that the questions are really what we're ultimately selling here is not really like a thing. It's not substance. It's not a widget. It's essentially continence.
Well, it's confidence and it's a relationship, right?
Yeah.
So it's the ability to say, hey, listen, I know this. I can help you with this. I know that we offer this. I'm going to find out those other answers for you. And also, I have a really cool team behind me that's going to be really amazing at doing all of the rest of it.
Yeah.
And I can be that liaison for you and be that point person. And I think oftentimes sort of, the great part about that is that most agents don't know, obviously, as much as you guys know because they're not really supposed to. They know other things.
Yeah.
And I am very not threatening to them because I am not trying to trump their knowledge in the lending space. And so they can ask me the questions that they probably, no offense, wouldn't ask you guys because they don't want to come off as, uneducated or not intelligent in what they are doing every day. So they can have these conversations with me. We can talk about them sort of on a more day-to-day level, and then I can get the answers that they need or turn them over with their clients over to you guys and be like, let them take care of it. They're the ones that are the experts. Let's go back to doing what we do best, which is relationship building.
And what's funny is the more that I know about this business and the more that I do, the less I claim to be an expert to consumers. So my favorite thing to say to clients is some combination of, that's a great question. I'm going to get my amazing team who knows far more about this than I do to answer it. And some of the time the team actually just comes back to me for the answer, but building confidence in the team and also just making sure that, clientele and our LOs and everyone's following the same process is obviously key.
Yeah.
But I also love telling them like, hey, my team is going to handle this and I just get to take credit for it. And they always laugh. That's my, my little canned thing. But it's telling them like, hey, I'm not on the consumer side as the LO, as the salesperson. I got a million other things going on. So I can't really spend the same amount of time I used to with them. Saying, I'm not the person. I have an amazing team that you're already in touch with. And this team does like an incredible job, but that's it's freeing from a sales standpoint. And it's also really awesome from a management and ownership standpoint to know that I do that or any salesperson can do that. And the team behind them just knocks it out of the park. It is like I never get a call that's, hey, I spoke with your processor and I don't understand.
Yeah.
The only time I get the call is, hey, I called the processor 30 seconds ago.
Oh, yeah. And they didn't answer.
And
they
didn't,
were busy.
And they didn't answer. So now I need to call you. And then, of course, if you're a nice seasoned salesperson like I am, go like, make some joke like, I'm sure they were just making coffee and they're going to call you back. I'm going to get in touch with them right now and you're going to be their top priority. Right. And they're always thinking, and I never even get bothered to get in touch with the team because I know they're going to make it their top priority and call them back. Yeah. Like our team's awesome. Our managers are awesome. Our people are awesome. Yeah. Like if we could just, if we could find 100 more of them, man, we would be Rocket Mortgage tomorrow. But these people are hard to find.
It's really great service.
Oh man, our people are great.
Yeah, they are really great. We're lucky. We're really lucky.
Yeah.
All right.
You found a lot of them.
I did.
I don't know where.
I don't know how either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got creative. I had a sense for good people. We just had to make sure that they had the, what they needed as far as the experience. But yeah, we've got a really great team. Our potluck's coming up. It's my favorite time of year.
What are you making?
I'm on green bean casserole this year. Adam's really pissed. He wanted it.
There's like 4 people who wanted green bean casserole.
Well, I took it.
We should have green bean casserole off.
Okay. I can make mashed potatoes.
I'll be the judge.
I saw a French onion dip.
Nope, 4 green bean casseroles. I have dictated it.
You're on cookies?
I'm not on anything. Liz is going to make cookies. She's
the
also
chocolate chip salted ones?
Yes. I also asked her to make a hummingbird cake.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I forgot about it too. Back in pre-child days, she used to make this cake like every week. It was amazing. I am rubbing my stomach. So I was 40 pounds heavier back then, so I could put it.
Wait, but what's in this hummingbird cake?
It's just delicious. You'll see.
Okay. You have no idea.
I just remember it was delicious. There's like an icing component to it. There's some nuts, some cinnamon, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Ask her.
I
She likes you better than she likes me.
That's not true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will say thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you made it. I know that, you'd rather be behind the curtain, behind the scenes. But I think sometimes to see you out and about is really cool. And I think, I talk about you an awful lot. So when I show everybody this episode, I'm going to be like, see, he does exist.
We didn't just get an actor. Maybe we did.
Maybe we did.
We just strapped a beard on some random guy.
And told them, go be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But thank you for being here. I love having you here always.
Oh, glad to do it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's enough whining for one day. We are so happy that you could join us today on Stop Whining About Real Estate. So please, not only listen, but subscribe, follow us, download, share, and if you're feeling it, give us a 5-star review. Hey, and if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email stopwhining@choicemortgage.com. Thanks so much.